Hello, this is Better Building with Buck, episode 7. We've got Pedro here with Sunset Homes, and we're going to be talking about acreage properties and high performance and build green and yeah, so that's what we'll be talking about today. So Pedro, do you want to talk a little bit about your business and what how you got started in construction?
Yeah. Thanks for having me back. So yeah, I'm an engineer by trade. I went to school for that. Halfway through my engineering degree, I moved to architecture because I thought that I was going to be an awesome designer and so on. But it turns out that I'm really, really bad at design because everything I want to do is so efficient and so squared that they were like, no, just go back to engineering, man. Like you have no notion of how space works and things have to be like rounded and all this spatial knowledge and shapes and forms, and I was like, yeah, I better just go back and make things square and efficient for that's what engineers do anyways. But um I ended up coming back to the construction world or residential anyways because being an engineer I was working on project management in oil and gas, and halfway through my career I was moved to Calgary, and I had a general contractor to build my home, and it went sideways. So I just ended up taking it over, finished the project. We moved in, and a couple of friends were asking me like, "Hey, can you just help out? Like, I'm having issues with my contractor." So I took it over, finished that one, and then friends of our friends started asking to the point that it was quite busy. So I have to leave my engineering world and just do this 100% of the time. Now we have several employees and coworkers that do this with me. And yeah, I do the initial meeting with clients. I just, just to see if just gauging how it's going to work out and so on. Because in the end, if you think about construction, it is a long-term relationship, right? So you
Sure
have to
is.
have that connection with your in this case clients or the homeowners, and vice versa. Like the homeowner needs to feel comfortable with you as the builder in the sense that you're gonna pass the information that is required, like you know anything that might go sideways, they know about it, and of course like cost and scheduling and all the selections that needs to be done. So thinking about that, because it's about a year and a half between design, permitting, and construction, and then 10, 15 years of warranty. So again, it's a pretty long term relationship. So you better have a good connection there from the beginning.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because it's so important and like um I think that people get kind of tied up in this idea that they're not that that first bit is really like a dating process and trying to like understand who each other are and most builders are going to be their at least their price point should be if they're it should be pretty competitive, like between one another. And in the
Mhm.
end, it's like, do you actually like get along with this person? Do you see this person like coming over for dinner, or at
Yeah,
least being able to go to maybe the pub and have a beer with them afterwards,
yeah.
or if you bumped into them at the I don't know coffee shop, would you have a chat with them just because they've sparked up a conversation with you?
Yeah, no, and it's as you mentioned, like for real, I do that. Like I visit my homeowners while the construction is ongoing, so I visit them wherever they're living at this point, and it's just casual like coffee, or we just go out for coffee or supper or lunch or anything. I just try to make it more like an actual relationship, not just transactional, meaning, hey, I'm gonna build this for you, just give me the money and thanks very much. It just, I think again, it's a long-term relationship, and you have to have that in the back of your mind because there might be issues during the construction or warranty calls, and you don't want to just say, hey, no, this is not a warranty, figure it out. You just, hey, let me go there. Can we do this together? Like, even if it's not covered under warranty, I help you out and let's just make it you know, no pain at all. Just warranty calls are a tricky one because the majority of them is just maintenance that
Mm,
the homeowners needs to do, and but there is a lack of knowledge, which we try to educate our clients or homeowners during the process, during the construction process, and then afterwards as well. During the final walkthrough, we just explain them, hey, these are the items that you need to be mindful of in terms of maintenance and so on, like external or exterior caulking, which again we'll talk about it for like all the environments that we live in here in Calgary, anyways, and surrounding areas. So while you have to be mindful of replacing the caulking once in a while, and yes, it's part of your maintenance, homeowner. But just that, the thing with the final walkthrough is too overwhelming. You're explaining this homeowner because you have been working on this project for several months, and you know the whole house in and out, and you're explaining them, hey, remember this door, you have to lock it this way, or this is how you replace the HVAC filter. This is how you turn on the switches and so on, like the hot beeps. And they're like, yes, yes, yes. But in a week or two, they're like, what is this hose beep again? Like, how do I turn on? It's like, okay. So yeah, it is a lot of information, but throughout the whole uh, post construction process when they are living in the house, we have this online project management system where they can still have access to it and they
yep.
can ask questions through it. So it's not like you need to they don't have to call the office or me or the PM directly. They can access to it and we can give you more information there. It's just detail and it has a record of it.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And we were going to talk a little bit about acreage properties and
Mhm.
how those are something that you're getting excited about, as well as kind of it seems like maybe the business that's getting driven to you is from acreages and what those kind of houses look like and what kind of triggers your mind when you're going through that process with engaging with that client.
Yeah. So different design, different areas of in let's say the cities, they are outside of the city mostly. We have Rocky View from west up like north and east, and then Foothills County on the south of Calgary. We do construction in Chestermere as well, which is it's just a small city east of Calgary. But mostly the acreages that we are seeing right now are in between Rocky View and Foothills, and the constructability and the design are a little bit different. That building a similar home in the city, especially because the wind loads. Something that happens a lot here, and I know. So you're in BC, you have the Rocky Mountains, so you have wind from the sea. It gets compressed when it goes to the top of the mountains, and then the speed increases again. It just physics and how things work. So and especially when the speed increases and having no trees or because you're it's pretty flat after the Rocky Mountains. You have some sort of hills, but not many trees. Is kind of a pretty, and you have high wind loads, and that construction detail that we're doing lately has changed because being building certified, we want to make sure that the house is really airtight. So we are using a lot of foam, sealant, or different caulking for the exterior just to make sure that whenever we have a -30, -40 on the outside, and these high winds are hitting a facade of the house, you don't have frost forming under a door or a window, for example, because very, very small amount of air is leaking through it.
Right. Cool. Yeah, it's interesting to think about all the details that are more important to you than they are to us out here. Like
Yeah.
we deal with so much rain and trying to, you know, detail things around rain where you're kind of worried about this cold infiltration of air and how those details kind of would probably change and kind of what the form of this structure is going to look like to try and mitigate some of these um often out here we're trying to get larger overhangs, and trying to like shed that water away as quick as we can. And out there, it sounds like you guys are trying to like it's you're obviously colder, so you're trying a little bit more insulation, and then also thinking about air infiltration around doors and windows and how that's gonna could frost up and stuff like that.
Yeah, so it helps. We do mainly two type of construction. So most of our foundations are ICF, and then we can either continue on the main and second floor with ICF or just do the regular lumber construction. But still, on the exterior, you do a pretty good seal around the windows. Like our framing detail for sealing the windows and doors is pretty heavy. Because again, I don't want warranty calls. I like to see you as a client for sure, but not for a warranty call. Just like I can go and have a coffee with you or chat about a new project. But yeah, I really don't like having warranty calls. So we pretty much over design and overbuild many of the exterior just because it's what the longest warranty that we have here in Alberta, anyways. So yeah, there's a lot of peel and stick, and we have primers and roll-ons and so on. Whereas I think in your case, you can just do a peel and stick and just roll it on without a primer. But temperature is different, right?
Yeah, it's interesting to think about that too. Like going to just how much, like the climates were or provinces and we're close, but
Mm-hmm.
how much different the whole condition is. And even within, our province or your province, there's going to be microclimates where, you're yet again having to like think about little extra details because of you're talking about the wind load and how if you're not in the city compared to being in the city. And yeah, it's just it's super interesting and fun to kind of learn what is at top of mind when one person's building a house to the next person. And I guess with that being said, it's it's good to understand too that the builder that you have too has experience in those neighborhoods or at least in that area compared to somebody that just came to town. Not that it's like terrible that somebody hasn't,
Mm-hmm.
they just came to town and they're starting a new business. That doesn't mean that they don't know what they're doing. But when you've gone through, you know, different things with the municipalities and trying to work your way through all these particular nuanced details and stuff like that,
Yeah,
yeah, it's kind of cool.
you have to build those relationships, and that even though we have been building acreages for quite a few years now, it is part of it. It's just having that specific contact for a where is my development permit at, and have the right person to call. They're pretty good at when you call the general numbers as well. They're pretty good at giving you information. But it's more like that personal touch, have that extra rapport with that specific guy at the municipality and or at the county, and just have that conversation. Say, hey, how things are coming along? Like, do you need any extra paperwork and so on? And just keep it on top of those, especially for the counties. At the city of Calgary is more streamlined.
Mm.
Their systems are a little bit more advanced, I will say, and you apply and it's pretty straightforward. You also get the contact of who you're dealing with, who is your planner, and I would say they're a little bit more easy to deal with. Maybe they
Oh,
have
interesting.
more people as well, right? That they can answer.
And when
Um,
you're usually waiting for a permit, what are your kind of wait times on permits?
Depends. So in the
Yeah.
city, I would say for the building permit, it will be well, you get the partial right away. So in about 2 weeks, you can start prepping the foundation and so on.
Okay.
For a development permit, anywhere from 6 to 10 weeks
Okay.
in the city. So it's not too bad.
Yeah.
The county is a little bit longer. It's
Okay.
more regulations, and they actually sometimes they have to go to the site and check, and you have different zonings for different type of parcels and land because you're dealing with acreages. So if you have an already a well-established development, that's half an acre or one or two and a half or three, that's different. But sometimes you have farmland, and you have to make sure that you follow that the process that they have in terms of what can you build and what is an auxiliary building. Like, sometimes you have a family that live in a farmland and they have this main residency and they have been there for years, but now the kids want to live in the same land and you're allowed to build a building up to this many square feet. So
Mm,
those kind of items you have to be mindful of as well.
right.
But again, new development for acreages is pretty straightforward, and they do have architectural guidelines, and they're pretty much we rely on them to tell us this is how much you can build, and because in that case now it's going to be a minimum, right? Some developments they would not allow you to build anything less than 1,600 square feet bungalow, for example. So you
Oh,
have to
interesting.
be sure, yeah, because if you're thinking 2.5, 3 acres, you
Yeah.
you better build something big because otherwise it's
Yeah.
gonna look too small.
Right, right. Fair enough. So, when you're saying that a development and there's going to be multiple projects in this development, like so there'd
Yeah,
be like 12 5-acre parcels. Is that what you mean when you say that? Or you mean
correct. Yeah.
developing? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Okay.
might be the case. And so, for example, we are building right now in Foothills,
Okay.
and there is this landowner or this farm owner at some point, like 10, 15 years ago, decided to develop his land. And so he has to go through a different process, which is rezoning and then servicing the property. So you have to put roads, gas, for example, and then a water well. But
Right.
then now we go in, we have to tie in the water well to the home. We have to do a septic tank or field, depending on the results of the investigation from the septic company, and then tie in the gas. Or if you want to be net zero or net zero ready, then I would like to have the gas there as an option. You don't have to be connected to the electrical grid, but at least have the gas as a backup. You can run everything through electrical systems, but just have the gas there just in case, man. Like you never know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Especially with all these 4150s being built that are all gonna be electrical. Our electrical grid is gonna get like a huge hit in like
Mm.
5, 10 years from now.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's interesting to think about, like, um, how we're gonna sustain all of the electrical grid that we have, and how that's gonna work out, and whether we're gonna be start relying more on batteries, or
Hmm.
what that's really gonna look like, or it even just the electric car as your battery backup kind of. Have you see
Yeah,
much of that?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I don't know. I
Yeah,
think maybe that might be, you're plugging your car in and it's
and
servicing
goes
your
the
house,
way back.
yeah,
Yeah,
through the nighttime. But
yeah,
um yeah, it'll be interesting to see how we solve this problem of energy, and I think it's also has a big uh you have to think about too about what kind of energy is available in your area, right? Like uh one way to fix it in one place may not be the right way in another place. And
yeah,
like if you're running off coal, a power plant, well, maybe it depends on where where you should be pulling your energy from.
yeah. Too much politics. Let's talk about something else.
Yeah, fair enough. So what's where are you when we talked about the high performance home, um what are the things that you would be trying to push towards for um what would be like the I have to do, and what would be the kind of option stuff on a product that you're making?
Yeah. So the thing with us, Sunset, we are Build Green certified, and our homes are, in theory, and they are through the design phase and through the energy modeling. You will notice that they are more efficient than a regular home of the same size or square footage and design. So from the get-go, we are a little bit more expensive than your general contractor. But with that in mind, we have to run our energy model, which is going to tell you how many gigajoules or kilowatts, how much energy in total your house is going to consume, and then we can adjust the type of insulation. So I know code is R22, but we don't do R22. We do 24 and 26 and north of that. still in a 2x6 wall cavity. So R24 is good. It's going to work. You don't need to keep increasing that wall cavity. But then we have different kind of windows. So dual pane or triple pane. Is the sun hitting? Where is it hitting? When is the sun hitting that facade? Can you gain heat throughout the winter using a specific kind of window? So all of those details are going to be run through the energy model, as well as which kind of HRV are we using, the efficiency of the HRV, because the basic HRVs are really bad for efficiency anyways. You have this heat transfer going on between the air leaving the house and the air coming in. But if you're only getting like, a couple percentage points, why do you even have it? Just because the code requires you to have an HRV, but we should just be mindful and using an HRV that will cost you a couple $100 more, but it's more efficient at whatever you can get off the shelf from your supplier.
Right.
So those kind of items is what we're looking for. So is it on demand, what here makes sense for the project, or the regular hot water tanks, depending if are you using infrared heating, because the system can be designed for either or. So we look very deeply into that item during the design stages, especially while running the energy model again.
You guys do much for exterior installation out there?
Yes, so we have done a few projects where we mostly when we do a major renovation. So we call major reno. Let's say we have an old bungalow. This the family lives there, and they just want to bring the bungalow up to code. And we did one a couple months ago. We finished where we have interior insulation. We kept the 2x4 structure, but again on a 2x4, if you want to reach over like or at least 30 R30 value, you need to add extra insulation. And we ended up doing it commercial type insulation that is actually was is used a lot in commercial buildings here in Calgary and in BC. Is Roxol
Yeah.
from Roxol company, and you just hang the exterior material from the outside. So we have the full 2x4 cavity, and then on the exterior we have that Roxol insulation as well, and then the exterior material in this case was some sort of concrete siding. But yeah, we have done those. It's different in terms of the design because you want that to breathe to the outside, right? So you have to be careful on like poly, insulation, sheeting, so paper, so sheeting paper, and then the exterior insulation, and then a breathable material again on the outside, which is pretty much how I believe you guys build in BC.
Yeah,
So
I might have probably skipped the final like Tyvek or whatever that
paper,
product
yeah,
is. Yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, I've done like a XPS foam on the outside with like a Sega house wrap, which is kind of it's just like a same kind of idea as the Tyvek, just a
okay,
different brand.
yeah,
And we did that on it. I think it was 16 or 1800 square foot house, and the
yeah,
heating and cooling bills for the month, our best month was $14. And I
wow,
just went there the other day and it was $21 for heating and cooling.
yeah, nice,
So yeah, so it was it, and we don't have the same like, obviously the same amount of temperature out there, but a regular bill for somebody for heating and cooling could be somewhere around like 100 to
okay,
$100 about a month or something like that.
yeah.
So
So you're
it's
about like 10%. That's pretty good.
yeah. So it's I was pretty stoked. Like that was the first project we did. We got it to step 4, so it's a little bit different than the national code, I think.
Yeah.
Because like we have a step. Do you guys have step code out there?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so
No,
step code, it was kind of like so step 3 was I think 30% better than this uh like a
model
standard
house or
house.
whatever.
Yeah, then
Yeah.
and then it was like 60% for step 4, and then net zero or step 5 is like 80 or above better than the
Yeah. Okay. Good.
yeah. So and that was with that exterior insulation and stuff like that. It was fun to like kind of work through the process of all these like assembly details and trying to figure out how, where you're gonna do a window buck around the window to like pull the window out, or where you wanted to put
Yep.
the window halfway through, or and then all the water management details around there. Um, yeah, so it actually kind of reinvigorated my spirit for construction, thinking, you're not having to do this very standard assembly over and over again and going like,
Hmm.
oh, okay, how are we going to get here? Oh, I got
Yeah.
to think about this and how this little piece and this little piece. And, I don't know. I thought it was kind of fun.
Yeah, for this particular project that I was mentioning, both the clients, so the husband and wife, they were both engineers as well. And
Okay.
man, like going through the whole, like, explaining them the whole process and how we're gonna do the testing and so on. And yeah, there were like questions back and forth, which sometimes we just explain to some homeowners and they say, cool. And they were like questions and questions, and we're like, okay, let's just build this same as you, like just build it up, build the whole wall, do an example for you, and then we're gonna explain you how we're gonna put it all together. And yeah, we got the green light from them. We're like, wow, cool, it's gonna work out, right? So yeah, it's nice to have all the trades involved as well. And again, it's a new assembly for us as well. Like you have all the details and from the vendor, from the engineer, from the envelope engineer. And once you get it done and everybody's like, yeah, it's gonna work out. And yeah, the house is there. So it's working
Yeah, for sure.
as it should. So
How did your guys in the field, I haven't actually done the Roxol insulation. How did they feel about having to like straighten out all the like rain screen and stuff like that to get the cladding on? Was that a bit of a struggle, or did they,
no, like
no?
I think because our so this specific trade that we use, we have been using it for like 10 years and
Okay.
they're pretty well versed on the commercial side as well.
Okay.
So it wasn't like nothing new for them. Anyways, it was new for us, let's say, but not for this specific company. So we were lucky that we have pretty good trades that
Right.
we work with, and they're knowledgeable and they're pretty easygoing. So we can share information like without any issues, right? They will not like be like, oh no, like I cannot tell you this is a trade secret. It's like no, they're pretty open.
Yeah, fair enough. And so when you talk about this particular trade, were they a envelope slash like siding company, or was
Hmm.
this the framing company that was dealing with this?
No, we yeah, the siding company. So
Okay.
the exterior in this case, we call it exterior company will did the whole exterior detail.
Okay, cool.
Our framers will stop at window install detail, and then
Okay.
you get the exterior company taking the rest of the scope.
Right. Cool. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. I've we self-perform some of our work, and
Yep.
the building envelope portion of it, I feel like is like very important to try and all those details and the lapping of all your materials and trying to get it airtight. It not a lot of the exterior siding companies out here are I feel at least going down that route. Now, if I was hiring a commercial siding company, they would probably be more versatile, like what you have
Yeah.
going on. But when you're dealing with more residential companies, I found that, some of them, it's not, they just haven't done courses and stuff like that,
Yeah.
which is fine. Obviously, everybody's busy, right? So it's hard to be
Yeah.
able to get away and get in all this knowledge if you're trying to get some siding up and start making some money instead of trying to learn stuff.
Yeah, I think that's part of it, right? The industry, just residential is like quote unquote easier. So they're just like, yeah, we can just get it done. They can work with somebody and gain some knowledge. And yeah, for sure, they will start their own company. So, but I have to be careful because it's always about warranty. I'm always concerned about warranty. And
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
fair.
just, it's not just looks good, but is it gonna last? Is it? So we check our trades like we have like three major steps that we check our trades on. Like, we want to make sure that it looks nice, the quality is there. But we also able to check with the home warranty just to see if they have warranty calls, and that has helped us in many cases because you always get like inquiries from new vendors
Mm,
or contractors saying, "Hey, can we work together?" and so on. And the presentation looks great, and they're happy and payment terms are really good for us, but then you check the quality, let's say, and the warranty side, and it's like, no, it's okay. We're just gonna pass
Yeah, no,
because
fair
it's gonna
enough.
be issues later on.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been really excited. I've been stoked to be able to chat with you and it's been super awesome to kind of understand how other builders are approaching their project and what's top of mind and I really really hope that we can do this again because that was great and I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, let's do that, Buck. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Thanks for
that was
having me.
great, man. So yeah, this is Better Building with Buck, episode 7, and thank you everybody for coming and watching. Okay, bye for now.